Yeah, he's a turn around.
Hi there, welcome to this one, no joke, a very, very insightful edition of the Springboard Hangout. The Springboard Hangout, as you know, is a fun-educative program where we have fun and talk about issues that concern us. My name is Comfort Okran. Springboard Hangout is brought to you by the MasterCard Foundation in partnership with the Springboard Roadshow Foundation. It's part of the Ghana Grows program. Today on the Hangout, I get to hang out with my fellow board member, find out more about her life, and very, very interestingly, tell you about what is in the future for someone who is here today. My guest for today is Angela Kyeremanten-Jimoh. She is a wonderful lady who has, when they talk about trailblazing, has blazed a trail in the tech space. Importantly, as you know that the Ghana Growth Program looks at opportunities in the agriculture, agribusiness, and technical and vocational skills. She is someone who is able to look at situations and say there's a better way to do this. And based on that strategic looking outside the box feel that she has, she's been able to open up spaces for herself and for young peoples. So therefore, we'll find out all about her tech journey, about her mentorship opportunities that she gives to young ladies especially, and then see what is in the future for her. Angela, welcome to the Springboard Hangout.
Thank you so much, Comfort, for having me. I feel privileged to be sitting down here with you this afternoon. How are you doing?
Fantastic. Just a quick one. This one, don't think plenty. Coffee or tea?
Tea.
Mountaintop or beachfront?
Beachfront.
Tech or, let's say, music?
Of course, tech.
Oh, come on. Don't do that. Don't do that. Okay. So then finally, would you rather go to climb Kilimanjaro, or you rather do maybe Afajatu? Afajatu, why?
It's local. Promote local.
Thank you. So here you are. You have someone who is a local girl. She's someone who has seen it all, done it all. And we'll go for a quick break. And when we return, we'll go into the trenches with Angela Kyeremanten-Jimoh. We will be right back.
Springboard Hangout is an initiative of the Springboard Roadshow Foundation in partnership with the MasterCard Foundation.
Welcome back to the Springboard Hangouts. We're hanging out with Angela Kyeremanten-Jimoh. Forbes magazine has named her as one of Africa's most influential leaders. Angela, how did you feel when that came to you? When you think back on your journey as a young person to the person that is recognized by Forbes magazine?
Thank you. First of all, thank you very much for having me. You could have chosen anybody else, but you chose me. So I feel very privileged to be sitting here this afternoon to having this conversation with you. So back to your question, how did I feel? So, when I look back at my journey, I never thought for 1 second that Forbes magazine would recognize me as one of the most influential women in Africa. And I remember it came in the month of March, and that was around my birthday.
Lovely.
And I said to God, this is a gift from you, because, to be named by Forbes is a big deal. Right? Mm-hmm. Not that the other magazines that have named me as influential didn't matter. It all did matter. But, Forbes is creme de la creme, right?
Oui, oui.
It was very humbling. But then I started asking myself, what does it mean to be influential? Because it's not for you. What are you going to use the influence to help others?
Yeah.
And that for me was a big daunting task. And I started asking myself, where do I start? How do I continue what I've always been doing? So yes, it was humbling, but it was also a call to action to do more. So yes, I was I felt very privileged.
So because of where you've reached, I'm just curious, was it was it settled, or was it grounded in the space where it was where I know I'm going all along? What was that backstory that brings you to where you are presently?
So I think I always say this, that you can never be what you don't see. I grew up in a home where my mother was a force to reckon with. My mom was the first black headmistress at St. Monica's Secondary when the nuns left. It was unheard of for a black person to head a school like that. She then became the director of secondary education, responsible for secondary schools in Ghana. So I grew up in a home where I could see my mom do everything, and I never felt a woman cannot do what you
It is possible.
it is possible. So I always say what you see, what you read, what you hear, it all influences who you become.
Fantastic.
And I was privileged to come from a home where I saw my mom do it. So I grew up thinking that I could do whatever I put my mind to. So I went for it. And nothing really scared me.
Nothing really scared you. So you started your journey. You are in the banking industry. You succeeded there. Then you got a call from the tech giants. You didn't start small in tech, with absolutely no knowledge about tech, but you were given the call and you went into tech and made a total fantastic career out of it. How was that journey like?
Again, back to what I was saying, you can't be what you don't see. But my mother, actually, I got a call from Leslie, who was the head of GE at that time, who happened to be my friend. He called me and said, look, IBM is in town and they're looking for somebody to run their marketing operations for West Africa, and I think you'd be fantastic for it. And I'm like, I don't know anything about tech. He said, no, but I think you're a very smart girl. I've dealt with you and I think you can do this, so go for it. So the encouragement from my network. Then I went home and my mom also encouraged me that tech is the next big thing. Why don't you take a stab at it? You've done banking, you've done UBS Investment Bank, ABN AMRO, you've done GT Bank, UBA in Ghana. Maybe it's time for you to try something else, because she knows me. I get
Bored.
you know? So she was like, I think the tech industry will be very consuming for you, and it will give you something to do. So it will give you something to keep you going, because I can see that you're already getting bored with the banking in Ghana. So that helped me to make my decision, and I never regretted it. But then when I went in, I knew that I had to put in my all. I needed to be focused. I needed to be committed. So I spent endless nights reading, bringing myself up to speed, making sure that I can speak the language. And because I was starting from ground zero, I told myself I have a lot to learn. So I was asking all the right questions. I was surrounding myself with the people who really know more than I did, so that they could all help me to grow. And I think with the resilience, the determination, and the hard work, I think that's what has brought me far. And also, of course, you can't do all of this without the favor of God and the blessings from God, right? And I never, whenever I tell my story, I always bring in the God factor. Because I know we say it, but for me in my life, it's very evident. I look at myself and I say that, you know, God has used the baskets to fetch water to shame the buckets. And that's the story I have. And I always am grateful for the role God has played in my life and brought me this far. And I don't just say it. You know, sometimes people just say these things, but I'm telling you, for me, I would never be here if it wasn't for the favor of God.
The favor of God balanced with the opportunity to ask those questions and ensuring that you are working on those questions to carve a niche for yourself in the tech space as what has brought you this far. So then I also heard when you talked about the fact that someone told you these guys are on the line, your network played a role. How important should young people listening to us today think about networking to support them on their journeys?
I think network plays a key role in your life. Your network is your net worth, they say, right? So you need to make sure that you're surrounding yourself and you find yourself in environments and in networks that can help you grow. The one thing I always tell people when they are networking is don't always look for what you get from the network. Look at what you bring to the table as well. It's important for your network to feel your absence when you're not there.
I love that. Could you repeat it?
It's important for your network to feel your absence when you're not there. So I always say that, you know, I have a particular young lady that I'm mentoring, and she would send me, she found out that I love golfing. And this young lady will always send me clips on golfing, what is new in golfing, who is playing what, who is winning. And I'm always looking forward to receiving those messages from her, because I get so consumed sometimes that I don't get time to go and do all these research. There's another young lady that I mentor who is always sending me articles about digital transformation in Africa. And she would listen to podcasts and she would send it to me and say, Angela, I think this is for you. This young lady, these two young ladies, of all the people that I mentor, they are very key to me, because it's not just what they get from me, it's also what they bring to the table.
Fantastic.
So I've always been in relationship with people that it's not just what I get from them, it's also what I'm also contributing, making sure that if there's an assignment to fulfill, I go beyond the call of duty and make sure that I fulfill those assignments. This young gentleman who introduced me to IBM, he was a client. He was a client at my bank. So we used to manage his account, and he's a friend of a friend. And when he came to open the account at the bank, I was head of consumer banking then. And I think he had some challenges. They brought him to me. I resolved the challenges. I kept checking up on him. Is everything okay? And through that, we built a good rapport. And I think my interactions with him and how I handled the situation gave him the confidence that this lady can do more than she's doing at the bank. So let's make sure that if there's an opportunity, we could put her forward. So when he put me forward, I then went in and did the job, did the interview, made sure I put my best foot forward. And through that, I got the job. So back to your question, I think that young people who are looking to build their network should also think of making sure what it is that they are bringing to the table. What is the role they are playing in that network? It's not just about taking from that network, it's also giving back to that network.
Contributing to that network, yeah. Because you mentioned mentoring, I had the privilege, and ladies, ladies and gentlemen who are watching us, I'm sure you saw that beautiful lady from Volta region who was part of the National Science and Maths quiz, who is now in Harvard. Have you wondered how that story came about? Angela, could you shed a little light on that particular beautiful mentoring journey for you?
I think that was an amazing story, and I think most people have read about it, because I think the young lady, Francesca is her name. She's my daughter now. We speak every Sunday without fail. This girl calls every Sunday without fail.
That's beautiful.
And with mentorship also, sometimes you're led by the Spirit. So Francesca's story is a very interesting one. I was actually in Casablanca.
Okay.
I think it was around the time when I was moving to Casablanca. So I was lying in a hotel room, and Kojo from Joy FM posted the link of the final NS National Science and Maths quiz on his status. And out of boredom, lying in the hotel room, I just clicked on the link and I started watching the finals. And this young lady, Francesca, kept popping up on my screen. And I heard the Holy Spirit, I heard the voice tell me, you need to find this girl and take care of her. You have an assignment. I ignored it. The next morning, I was in the shower, and that voice came again, and it was so loud. I'm even getting goosebumps as I speak. It was so loud, I couldn't ignore it. So I called my assistant, Jipa, and I said to Jipa, please, can you track this lady down for me? I need to see her. And she was like, okay. So then she set up, and then the same Holy Spirit came back to me and said, the task ahead of you, you will not be able to do it alone. So get a few of your girlfriends together, and you have an assignment with this girl. I was like, okay, let me listen to the Spirit. So we met with this girl. I got a few of my friends together, Theresa, Abna from Ghana Stock Exchange, Theresa from Chatterhouse, Edith from BNFT, Yvette from Dynamics Data. So a few of the executive women, we took this young lady to lunch. And fast forward, she did at the thing, we found out that she comes from an underprivileged family. I had no idea when I was inviting her for lunch. Then the next thing was, we need to help this girl go forward, go to Harvard. So I moved her in with me. I spoke to her mother. I moved her in with me. She went to live with my sister-in-law because of my job. I travel a lot. So she moved in with my sister-in-law, and we just helped her to get to Harvard. And then we worked with a school. I've forgotten the name of the agency that helps people to write exams to get scholarships abroad. They also came on board. And fast forward, she got admission into Harvard. I took time out of work. I flew with her to Harvard. I settled her in, and she's now doing so well. I went back to do a program at Yale, and Francisca, that was around my birthday. Francisca flew down to meet me in Yale for the weekend. And when I saw her, I cried. I cried because I saw the transformation. And I said to God, I'm so grateful I listened to you. I'm so grateful I didn't push that voice aside, because this girl is such a brilliant young lady. All she needed was an earth angel to hold her hands and take her to the right. And she's so committed to coming back to Ghana after her studies.
I love that.
And doing stuff in her village. What she's studying, she's doing medicine, but she's focusing on herbal medicine, how to advance herbal medicine, because all her thoughts is on how do I come back to Ghana and help my community, help my nation. And I think that girl is going to be so great. And
Amen.
I'm so grateful and humble that I was part of the story, and I listened to God, and God used us, me and the others, to make this possible. So back to mentorship. Sometimes for me, I go with the spirit. I'm very careful the people I bring around me.
Yeah.
And there's some young women that have come so close, and they're like sisters now. Bella Mundi is one of the people that are very close to me. Bella is like a little sister to me. She also reached out, and the Holy Spirit just told me, this is a project for you. And when I see Bella from the time I met her to now, the transformation, the way she thinks, the way she behaves, she's now a married woman. And you see the difference in what she does. And
deliberateness, intentionality.
Totally. And it's all the network, the people that you have around you. So I listen to the spirit a lot. I get a lot of requests for mentorship, and of course, there's not much I can't mentor everyone. So I have this thing that I do evening with Angela. So if you follow me on Instagram, whenever I'm in Ghana, I get 10 ladies together. I have dinner with them. We have a meal. We have drinks. I take questions from them, and I find a way to give back to society. So for me, mentorship is something that I take very seriously, because back to what I said originally, you can't be what you don't see.
Yeah.
And in the past, I was very reserved. I like my private life.
Yeah.
I like to travel, do my nice things, but I want to keep out of people's
viewpoint. Yeah.
That's how I was brought up. My mom is a very demure person, but I feel that we are doing the young people a disservice if we're hiding. For some of us who are doing all the things that God has blessed us to do. So I'm being a bit more intentional about putting myself out there, but also being very calculative about it, because I still like my privacy.
It's beautiful.
I like to keep a part of me private. So even on my Instagram, I'm still it's a private page. You have to request to follow me, and my team will scrutinize you to see if we want you to follow me and all of that. But yeah, I'm led by the spirit a lot in terms of who I mentor. But yes, mentorship is good. It's great, but I believe that you have to also be led by the spirit as to who you bring close to you.
You have to be led by the spirit to know which path or who you connect with. So we're going for a quick break. When we return, we will continue on this beautiful journey with Angela Kyeremanten-Jimoh, who is our guest on today's Springboard Hangout. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back.
Springboard Hangout is an initiative of the Springboard Roadshow Foundation in partnership with the MasterCard Foundation.
Welcome back to the Springboard Hangout. The Hangout is a program run by Springboard Roadshow Foundation in partnership with the MasterCard Foundation. And today we're talking about young women in male-dominated spaces, and where do you get such people? And we were privileged to come to Angela Kyeremanten-Jimoh, who is now
Digital transformation lead.
Are you still?
I'm on garden leave.
You're on what?
Garden leave.
Okay, so tell me a little bit about this garden leave that you are on, because you're formerly with, you were or you are with Microsoft.
Yes, I am. So I spent 10 years of my tech career in IBM. I started IBM as marketing lead for West Africa, and then I went all the way up to general manager for, well, some people, managing director, CEO, general manager for Northeast and West Africa. So I had 35 countries reporting into me, including Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Morocco, etc., reported into me. It was a really good journey with IBM, 10 solid years of fantastic career. And then I got headhunted by Microsoft, and I moved to Microsoft for 2 years. And after 2 years, like I told you at the beginning, I get bored very easily. So I have resigned from Microsoft, but I'm still on garden leave, so I'm on their books until December. I have some very interesting stuff in the pipeline.
Can you give us a little peek behind the curtains?
No, I can't.
Oh, come
Because
on,
I'm
Angela.
not allowed to really talk about it.
Okay.
But really exciting things ahead of me, and things that will help me leave a solid legacy on the continent. And I'm going to make the announcement sometime in January when I've started this. But I feel so privileged. I feel so
Excited.
overwhelmed by the journey I've had in my tech career, and I think for me the next move is the cherry on the cake, and that actually crowns everything. And I feel like God was preparing me for this moment, and the moment has come, and I'm happy I had the foresight to take advantage of the situation and really live up to, I think, what God had in stock for me. So I can't wait.
Neither can
At the
I.
moment, I'm enjoying my garden leave. I'm spending a lot of time in London.
With the children.
With the boys. They're not children anymore. They're
Sorry.
children. Jamal is working with AWS. He's an engineer. Caleb is a lawyer. He's a tech lawyer. They don't need me as much as I would love them to need me. It's good to see how they have grown and become big boys. They live in their own home in London, and I get to see them when they finish work. So I'm learning to cook. I'm learning to
Play golf more.
I play golf more, and I want to learn horse riding. So I got my gear. I'm taking that up. But the most interesting thing I'm doing during my garden leave is actually learning how to cook.
Okay. Angela, you said something that I want us to investigate just a tiny little bit. In Microsoft, you created your own job. You opened the door for yourself. Why?
Okay,
And how? I think I want two things. Why and how?
How I moved from marketing into strategy in IBM.
Yeah.
That's the story.
Yeah.
So in IBM, I think you should go and the listeners should watch my interview with Mr. O'Krine, which was, I told my story. So I don't want to extensively. I think that was my first ever interview where I really did bear out my soul. So I think people should look for that interview and watch it, and I will tell you about my journey. But just to quickly recap on it, started in marketing in IBM, head of marketing for West Africa. I moved on to head of strategy for Central, East, and West Africa. The head of strategy role is the role that I created. I saw a gap in the market. I saw a gap in the system, in the organization. I wrote a paper to describe why we need somebody in Africa to be helping the team in the US to craft the strategy for Africa. Because I put that paper together, they appointed me to lead that role. I went from there to become the country general manager, because as I was strategy lead, I still helped the sales team to close opportunities. So when the country general manager role came up, I was offered that role to come back to Ghana and be the country general manager. Then from there, I got into the Club 100 in IBM. Club 100 in IBM, for those watching and those who know IBM, Club 100 in IBM is the top 100 top performers in IBM. So my team and I in Ghana, we got into that role. I think one of the key questions I get asked a lot is, how are you able to make all these moves from all these transitions? And one thing I always say is that I don't work as an individual. I work as a team. Mm-hmm. And one of the things I do and do very well is I always surround myself with people who are even more intelligent than me.
Fantastic.
So when I'm recruiting, I'm always looking for people who have skills that I don't have, people who have intellect that I don't have. As a manager, I lead with empathy. I get people to work for me. I get my team people to like working with Angela. They look forward to coming to work because Angela is in the lead. She will take care of me. She will make sure that I don't get laid off unnecessarily. She'll make sure that the work environment is conducive for me to grow. So I'm very intentional about surrounding myself with people who are even smarter than I am in my team. When you have people like that and you've created a conducive environment for them to shine, and you as a leader, you're also very quick to help people to shine and not always trying to take the glory for yourself. What happens is that your team, as a team, you grow. And when your team is growing, the leader is growing. And you're making room for others to grow. So I am a strong advocate of leaders who surround themselves with people who are even sometimes even smarter than they are. And with that, you are a winner because you're helping them grow and you are growing as well. You're learning from them, they're learning from you. You all bring different things to the table, different skills to the table. And for me, that has played a very key role in how I've moved up. Personally, as well, I invest a lot in learning. You need, as a leader, to also have your team look up to you. They need to come to you and you should be able to solve issues for them. So I'm always ahead of the game when it comes to making sure that I'm well prepared to ensure that the team as a whole, we progress. So I do a lot of investment in myself in learning. If you go to my LinkedIn profile, every year I make sure I do a course. Recently, I started a data science course, which I'm still working on that. I haven't concluded, but I'm always thinking ahead. What is next? How can I learn more? How can I improve myself? It's not just how you
Been there for the past 5 years and you're the same.
It's not just how you present yourself, but it's also what you bring to the table, the knowledge, the contribution that you bring to the table. So it's a lot of preparation and a lot of building the right ecosystem, the right team around you. And it's also the diligence in what you do and always making sure that you don't take no for an answer. For me, those things have really helped me a lot to grow in my career.
Wow, that has been a power bullet. So, Angela, as we wrap up today's conversation, and thank you so much for coming on the Springboard Hangout. Thank you for coming to inspire us. Thank you for showing us what those little things that make a lot of difference in a person's journey. What 2 things would you like to leave with us today? 2 things.
2 things. The first thing I would like to leave with the young ladies watching especially is that you cannot be what you don't see. Try and surround yourself with good mentors, people that inspire you in the right way. And when you get into a relationship, a network, if you get a mentor, don't always just think about what it is that you can get from them. Think of what you also bring to the table, because honestly, by giving, you learn as well. Okay, so it's a 2-way street. A lot of young women out there are looking for mentors, but when they find a mentor, all they think about is how do I get from her, how do I get from him. That needs to stop. You also have to think, what do I bring to the table? How is this person going to miss my absence? That for me is very key as a young woman trying to climb up the ladder. Another thing that I will say is to young women trying to climb up the ladder is there's no shortcut to getting up there. There are no shortcuts. Don't let anybody deceive you. Because if you find a shortcut, you will have to come back and learn and grow up again. So invest your time in building yourself. Invest your time in reading, studying. Be curious about what is happening around you. Invest a lot of your time, not just in how you look, the hair, the makeup, all of that is beautiful. I see a lot of you guys, your eyelashes, amazing. But what do you have inside your head? Please spend a lot of time, because you know what you learn, what you keep in you, nobody can take that away from you. So invest a lot of your time in learning. Surround yourself with good people. For those women who are already working, what I'll say to you is invest in your network, your support system. I could never get to where I am if I didn't have a strong support system. My driver, my housekeeper, the people around me, my mother, everybody has played a role in helping me get to where I am. Delegation. You can't be a superwoman. Anyone who tells you can be a superwoman, it's a lie. For a very long time, I didn't cook. I used to get takeaway for my sons, but it's okay. I couldn't go to work and come home and cook as well. So listen, you cannot be a superwoman. Do what you can do best. Focus on what you do best. Delegate the rest that you cannot do. And with God in the boat, you always smile at the storm.
Thank you, Angela. That was lovely. That was beautiful. We are so grateful. So having heard so much from Angela, I know you are inspired to think about the mentorship, to think about the network, to think about how you can ensure that you are always learning and growing and connecting. So as we'll carry away again next week, know that you are loved. You are blessed. You are the most important person in the whole wide world. Therefore, we love you.
Springboard Hangout is an initiative of the Springboard Roadshow Foundation in partnership with the MasterCard Foundation.